All right, here we go. It is December 29th. I have got some really cool stuff for you guys today. We're going to start off with a couple of really good topics, and then I'll get into Q&A and answer any questions that you might have. But the first thing I'm going to talk about is a couple of really good examples. These are out of ad agencies, and it's really proof in the pudding of what a good marketing campaign can do. And I mean, the two that I'm going to show you, they literally changed history. They changed culture and they changed human behavior. So you talk about power. I talk about ad agencies can take a normal average item and turn it into a household name. Well, I'm going to show you two really good examples of that today. And after that, we're going to get into our year-end process. Some of you that are new to this is going to be, hopefully it'll be an eye-opener for you, but it's a process where it'll almost guarantee that you will double in the next year, which that's a pretty cool thing. And when I say double, that's very conservative, because I'm going to show you probably 20 different things. And if you just do one of them, it should double. So we're going to get into it here. One of the campaigns that I want to talk about is based around Christmas. And a lot of you don't know this. Some of you might, but does anybody know where Santa Claus are the version of Santa Claus that we know today? You know where that came from? It came out of an ad campaign. It was for Coca-Cola.
I said that, my lips moved, but you didn't hear me.
It's really interesting the way this went down. It was an ad agency. I believe they were based out of New York. And this was 1931 when the Santa Claus that you and I know was created. And prior to that, let me just share my screen. Prior to the Santa that we know, Santa Claus was basically, there wasn't really a Santa Claus. It was Saint Nick. And this goes back to the 4th century. And what he looked like is nothing like what we know Santa Claus. So I'll share the screen here and show you. This is what good old Saint Nick looked like. Not a jolly fellow that looks like he's going to bring presents to you, right?
In fact, he needs a plate of cookies.
Yeah, exactly. So it was Coca-Cola, their ad department. They realized they needed something to spark sales of Coke, because Coke wasn't selling in the wintertime. It was almost like it was a summertime beverage. And they created this ad campaign around getting people to drink Coke during the holidays. And they hired in, the ad agency was DRC Advertising. And like I said, I think they were out of New York. Their main art director on this was Archie Lee. And he reached out, he created an ad campaign based around the poem, "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." And they needed to create the character that poem was written about, which was Santa Claus. So they reached out, and this is very similar to what I used to experience in ad agencies. I would go and I would sit in their boardroom and they'd dream up their campaigns. And then as a commercial photographer, I would put that on film and make that character come to life. So they hired a gentleman named Hayden Sundblom, and he went to work to create the Santa Claus that you and I know. This is him here. And that is the first rendition of the Coca-Cola Santa Claus, which we know today. I mean, if you think Santa Claus today, this is the guy you think, right? Not that. And it really goes deep. He created this character, and it was interesting. They paid him $1,000 to do this original illustration. And in 1931, your average car cost $700. They paid him $1,000 to create the Santa Claus. And throughout the years, I believe his last painting of Santa Claus, throughout the years, they were all pretty much the same. He looked identical. This one was from 1964. So he did this. He did different Santa Claus versions from 31 to 64. And this is where, radio control stuff was starting to come into play. But it was always for Coke. And the interesting thing, how things get coined as household names and then they're able to be used by others. I mean, Santa Claus should have been copyrighted by Coca-Cola, but because it was such a household name, it was able to be used for everything. And some of the examples of this was Santa Claus with White Rock water. This is very early on. It was also used by Whitman's chocolate. Here it is for Jell-O. And even to sell cars. This is Plymouth Automobiles. And the tagline here is, "My daddy's been a good boy too. He wants a new Plymouth." So this thing changed history. It literally changed history. And even Pepsi snuck in on it. So really cool stuff. So that was the first one. And if you think about it, Santa Claus was used throughout history since, the 30s, basically to change an entire industry, if you want to call it that, the holiday season. He was attached to selling everything we can imagine. I mean, how many things over our lifetime have we bought due to Santa Claus that we probably didn't need or want even? So that is a perfect example of how an ad agency can literally change history, change culture, and change human behavior. It is a very powerful thing, and it's all marketing. Every bit of this is marketing. It's delving in. And the next example I'm going to show you, it throws a twist to the avatar, because the avatar doesn't have demographics to it in the next one I'm going to show you, which is, it's kind of unique. And I use examples of avatars that don't necessarily have demographics. It can be a symptom. Like if your product solves a headache, you don't really have a specific person that you're targeting, because anyone can get a headache. You're targeting, your avatar becomes a symptom. So you just have to know all the things about a person that has a headache, what they're feeling, what they're suffering, how they're, you need to walk in their shoes. So anyway, the next one I'm going to talk about here. I know you guys have all heard the saying. It's been coined as the best ad campaign in human history. And the saying, the tagline for it is "Diamonds are forever." The company, this was started in 1938. This ad campaign started in 1938.
De Beers.
And yeah, De Beers, exactly. And it was in the time of, depression. And you're talking about, how do you sell a rock for a whole bunch of money to people that are frugal? They would rather put their money into a new washing machine or a new car or something that the family needed, right? But De Beers, they hired a woman, a copywriter. Her name was Mary Garrity. And she threw that 4-word phrase out: "Diamonds are forever." And the people at the ad agency didn't like it. The client didn't like it, but she stuck to her guns and she said, "No, this is going to work." And they ran the campaign, and lo and behold, it did work. And it was twisted, through the next probably decade in many different forms. It was also used at the end of World War II. And this is getting into some psychology and, some some deep avatar stuff here. Because at the end of World War II, there was a lot of soldiers overseas. And one of the biggest things that we deal with in marketing is overcoming an objection, right? So there was a big objection to young women marrying servicemen because of their escapades overseas. You know, they weren't seen as you know, for lack of a better word, clean and virgin-like. They were, you know, they had some experience. And there was heat from the parents on the daughters to not, you don't want one of those guys, right? I'm not saying it was right, wrong, or otherwise. It's just an observation. So anyway, that's a big objection. You know, these guys came back, they wanted to get married to their true love, yet they'd been overseas and who knows what happened over there. So there's a big objection in the way. So the campaign, Diamonds Are Forever, really got rid of that evil. And that was one of the things that, and here's another thing about diamonds. A diamond engagement ring didn't really exist prior to the 30s. It wasn't a thing. You would get married, you know, you'd have a ring, but it wasn't necessarily a diamond ring. And it certainly wasn't a diamond engagement ring to even start the process. Diamonds were exclusively for the rich. So this was a whole turn of events that, again, changed history, changed culture, and changed human behavior. Can you imagine today? This went on in the 30s, right? Can you imagine today? We're not quite 100 years later, but we're not far off. So 100 years later, can you imagine today making an engagement proposal without a diamond ring? Can you imagine? You would not go over very well. So it literally changed history. It changed human behavior. Really cool stuff. And again, there was no avatar because anybody could get married. Anybody could fall in love, right? They took a rock that they were selling. And I say this a lot. Most people don't want what you're selling. They want the outcome of it. So again, nobody wanted the rock. They wanted what the rock represented, which was everlasting, endless love. So they stopped selling jewelry and they started selling that. And again, changed history. So if you can figure out what's behind the drivers, the primary drivers for what you sell and what the people buy from you, what those are, you have the capability of creating a marketing campaign that could possibly change history. Not saying that we're all going to hit that one out of the park, but we probably all have that in us if you get a little creative. So that I wanted to share those two examples. And I also want to show you what their ad campaign looked like, because this goes back to the avatar not being specific. The avatar here is a symptom of two people in love. In one of the ad campaigns that they had, they actually used this both ways. One of the campaigns said, he knows how much she loves him, but now the world knows. And they've reversed it. Same thing. He knows how much she loves him, but now the world knows. And remember, I talked about primary drivers, the difference between men and women. Significance is for the man. So do you think he wants to give her a small diamond? No, he wants the significance because he knows she's going to show it to everybody, right? And for her, the bigger the diamond, they actually made buying criteria. DeBurse set buying criteria for what kind of diamond you should buy and how much you should spend on it. They put down 2 months' salary. A man should spend 2 months' salary. So they set the buying criteria back in the 30s. And it still exists today of how you look at buying a diamond ring. Pretty amazing. I mean, if that's not amazing in advertising, I don't know what is. Those are the two most spectacular examples I could possibly share with you guys. But for the female, primary driver there is security. So if she has a man that can give her a big diamond, that's security. And again, I don't mean to be racist or talk down to women or anything like that. That's not what this is about. This is about primary drivers, emotions, and using that to sell your products. I'm not saying that, maybe the woman makes more than the man. Times have changed, but it's still this primary thing of he needs to spend 2 months' salary on that diamond ring. And the bigger the ring, the better he's going to feel. And the bigger the ring, the better she's going to feel, right? So primary drivers, they're incredibly powerful. So I want to show you guys one of their ad campaigns, which I think is pretty spectacular. It goes to the whole thing about, look at the avatar here. You can't figure out who it is. It's, you can't tell race, creed, color. It's indiscriminate.
Salary last forever. A diamond is forever. De Beers.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty powerful stuff right there. And again, they weren't really selling the diamond. They were selling the dream. They were selling the everlasting love, the romance, all that entails. And they did it well. And they sold the crap out of that stuff. And it was like, I saw somewhere, I don't remember offhand what it was, but their original advertising budget for the ad agency was very small. And shortly after World War II, they had increased it to like $10 million for their ad budget. Pretty phenomenal. They made some money and they could spend more money, and they did. They made a ton of ads and commercials, but it was all based around diamonds are forever. They figured it out. So that's what you guys need to do. You need to figure out why someone is going to want your product or service, and how do you convey the messaging? Remember, it's not always about the thing. Like when I started off on the internet, one of the biggest things that I sold, one of my biggest money makers, was search engine optimization, was SEO. And I got to tell you, I learned real fast that nobody wanted that. If I went in and tried to sell SEO, it was a very hard sale because that's not what they wanted. They wanted traffic. They wanted customers. They wanted leads and sales. So when I changed the conversation up, didn't talk about SEO at all, my sales went through the roof. So remember, it's very rarely about the thing. It's about what the thing does. So when you're creating your marketing, you need to really focus on that. Some of you were on the call with Sue that I did where I talked about 3-dimensionalizing the benefits. That is a really powerful thing to do. If you guys don't know the difference between features and benefits, a feature is what it is. If you're talking about what it is, you're highlighting features, which again, very few people care about the features. If you're talking about what it does, now you're focused on the benefits. That's what's going to get somebody to want your stuff. That's what's going to get them to purchase from you. So focus on the benefits and 3-dimensionalize the benefits so they can hear it, see it, and feel it. The hearing it, that's what everybody does. You just say the benefit and they heard it. That's one-dimensional. But you also say it in a way that they can see it. And, one of the trigger words that I use for that is remember, because when you say the word remember, you're automatically activating a memory bank where a picture exists. So you can bring up a picture full color. You can bring it to life so they can actually see what you're talking about. And that's the second dimension. The third dimension is you want them to feel it. So you need to transport them into the after game where they've actually received the result. And you can get them to feel that. And I use a trigger word there called imagine. If you use imagine, you can activate their imagination. And now you can take them into a place where they can imagine something as though it's already happened and they can feel it. You know, it's like when you go onto a car lot, they'll never talk about the price of the car before they put you behind the wheel. They want you to hear it, see it, and feel it. And then they talk about things where you're imagining how good this is going to look in your driveway. You know, what your neighbors are going to say. You're going to be the talk of the street, right? They use that three-dimensionalizing of benefits. And you can do that in your text. You don't have to put them in behind the wheel of the car to be able to do this. You can use imagination. Imagination is incredibly powerful. It is every bit as good of an experience as in real life in many cases. So you can use that same thing to get them to feel that car and imagine what it's going to look like, even if they're not standing in front of it. So don't think that, don't put yourself in a box and think you can't do this because it's not in front of them, or you're doing it through an electronic marketing funnel. You can absolutely do this. Anything that happens in the real world, you can digitize it. And what I always say is anything that works in the real world will work online. Anything that doesn't work in the real world, I can almost guarantee you is not going to work here either. I see so many marketers that are doing crazy stuff in their marketing campaigns that would never work in the real world. And guess what? They don't work here any better. You have to focus on things that work in the real world, like a sales process. If you're starting from scratch, you have a new business and you're just trying to figure this stuff out, I really encourage you to get in front of some people and talk to them and get their reaction so you can see, okay, I said this and it worked. I said that and they kind of backed away, because that's going to work when you digitize it. You need to figure out what works with your prospects and your potential customers. There's no better way than to see it in real life. So figuring that stuff out before you start creating a marketing campaign, again, that's part of analysis. The ad agencies do this by focus groups. They will get a bunch of their target market together in a room and they'll start asking them questions. And there's cameras behind the walls videotaping all of the reactions for studies. They're studying the reaction to every word that is spoken in that room. Everything, like they might show videos, they might do all kinds of different experiences in that room with that focus group, and they have their eyes on everyone. They are watching the reaction, they're gauging every instance, and then they're building their marketing campaigns based around what they learned. So there's no better way than to interact with people to figure out what is going to move their emotions to purchase your products. Some people are just really good at this. Some people know the market, they know their product, and they can just cut right to the chase. I'm very good at that because I've worked with so many different businesses and I've seen so many different instances of how to sell something. And I came to the realization that it almost doesn't matter what it is. The marketing all works the same. You have to grab their attention. You have to create demand and desire. You have to eliminate the objections, and you have to make an offer. Now, how you do that, and how long that process is depends on a few things. How complicated the offer is, how complicated the product is, and how expensive it is. If you have a simple low-dollar thing, you can do this in seconds. You can turn a 30-second elevator speech into a sale. It doesn't have to take a long time. If your offer is more complex and it's more expensive, then you're going to have to use what I call an education-based marketing system. You're going to have to show them, teach them, let them understand why your product's better, why it's going to give them what they want, and how they're going to actually get that benefit. And as you go through that process, that is the best way to create demand and desire. As they learn, oh my God, I can actually get this result, I can get this benefit, they're going to want it. And the closer you get them to it, I always tell everybody, don't worry about trying to give too little away. When you're talking to them, give them everything. Don't worry about if they're going to go try and do it on their own. There'll be a few people that'll do that anyway. Don't worry about it. But tell them everything you can think of to help them to do it on their own. Because the closer you get them to the outcome, the more they're going to want you to finish the show for them. That's something I've seen over and over. Anybody that does marketing with a scarcity mentality and won't share information with them and holds back, that's a distrust factor. And that's not going to create the relationship that you need to create a lifelong relationship with this prospect, turn them into a customer and keep them forever. It's not going to work for you. So, I mean, and I don't say that 100%. It might, you're going to get some sales. I mean, even a blind squirrel will get a nut. But if you want something that is going to be rock solid and just go to the moon, then you need to do it right. And it's grab attention, create demand and desire. The more you tell them, the closer you get them to their outcome, the more they're going to want it. And what that means is the more you can charge for it. So if you get really good at this process, you can charge much more for what you're offering. I don't care what it is. If you do it right, it doesn't even matter if the competition is cheaper. They won't care. They will spend the money with you. So cool stuff. I'll do a couple of questions here, and then we're going to get into our year-end process. So Karen, I see you had your hand up there.
What would you consider to be the expensive you just said? Or you said cheap?
That really depends on the market and who you're talking about. It might be as little as $97. It's easier to sell a $47 thing than a $97 thing. It's easier to sell a $7 thing than it is to sell a $47 thing. So it's all about scale. What some of the digital marketers do that works really well. And again, this works in the real world. It's called a loss leader. In a real world, it's a loss leader. That's what they call it in the ad world. They will sell you a little thing to get you through the door. Like they'll offer, say it's a furniture store and they'll offer you a free pillow set. Come on in and get your free pillow set. So you go in and the pillow set's not at the front door. It's at the back of the room. You're going to have to walk through. You're going to have to see all the other cool stuff. And then whatever it is that you're buying, it automatically goes with something else. So that's an upsell. So they got you in for the low thing, or maybe it's not free. Maybe it's $7. Maybe you get this thing that's worth $100 for $7. That's a loss leader. If that's all you buy, they're going to lose money. But they know that's not all you're going to buy. And they also know that once you make a purchase, you are 100 times more likely to make another purchase from them. You have changed the relationship from an unknown or even a prospect into a customer. And customers you can sell to over and over and over. A prospect, the hardest thing you're ever going to do is make the first sale to a new person, because you are literally changing the relationship there. Once the relationship's changed and you made the sale and they had a good experience, it's going to be 100 times easier for you to make the next sale to that same person. So the loss leader, totally worth it. They have figured this out. The math works almost every time. So the digital marketers, what they'll do, they will take their big box product, maybe it's $1,000, and they'll sliver off a little piece of it, and they'll sell you the piece for $7. And then they give you the piece, you buy the piece, you get the piece, And then they say, by the way, as a special gift for making this purchase, I'm going to give you a free webinar series. And guess what that is? That is education-based marketing. They are teaching you how to use the big box product that they sell. They're teaching you that the little sliver that you got is the first step. So that got you a little closer to what you really want. But now they're going to take you through the process. They're going to show you how you can get the whole enchilada. And that's how they're going to take you from a $7 item to a $1,000 item. They're just not going to be able to do it on one, in one shot. They're going to have to spend some time with you to do that. Sometimes it can be in an hour webinar. I have sold multiple thousand things in an hour presentation. That's not a problem. But you have to deliver the value. You've got to take them through the process. You have to show them the value and the fact that they can actually get the outcome. That's where you're going to have to eliminate the objections. And then when you make your offer, the offers go over very well. So hopefully that was kind of a long-winded answer, but I hope that hope that got you fixed up. All right. Anything else before we move on to the year-end process? Okay, cool. I'm going to put in the chat here the download links for the worksheet for this. So if you guys want to download those and open it up, I put it in Word. If you don't have Word, I also put it in a PDF. So you can just download the PDF, print it, and fill it in by hand if you want. For those of you that are in Alignable, these worksheets are actually in the members area in the group. So if you look under the resources tab, you can get them there anytime you want. So here's something with these documents. And I'm going to open one of these up and we're going to go through it. Just going to go through the whole thing here. And what this does, you're going to find that it's going to be very uncomfortable. This is not going to be a comfortable exercise. It's going to reveal a lot of pain in your business or your process. But if you don't do this, you're going to remain in a state of not knowing why you are where you are at and why your business is struggling and why you're not moving forward year after year. This is going to make it clear as a bell. And it's going to also show you how to change it. So I'm going to go ahead and let's see, we got a question here in the chat. Okay, where can I find out how many W-2 employees that a 50, probably, okay, so I think the question is related to how do you find a company with 50 employees or more? There is a ton of data sources that can do that. Almost any mailing list provider can give you that information. Libraries have that information. You could probably just Google. You could Google data sources for that. So that's readily available information. All right, let me share the screen. And we're going to get into this. I call it a scorecard. So you're going to score a whole bunch of criteria in your business to reveal how well you did. And I can almost assure you this is going to be in direct relationship to how much money you made in the last year. So, like I said, this might not be comfortable for many of you. It's not comfortable for me every time I do it because it just shows me I could have done a lot better. And that's the whole point to it. So the first thing you do, you put down your gross overall sales that came in for 2022. It doesn't have to be exact. You can fudge it and just get a basic number. And then out of that, how much of that was profit? How much of that went into actual expenses, including overhead and just everything? How much actual profit did you take home out of that? Like if you brought in 100,000, did you take home 10,000 or did you take home 90,000? So if you're doing digital products, your profit margins are pretty high. You still have overhead. Don't think that you don't have any expenses. You've got cost of internet services. You've got cost of, software, all kinds of stuff. There's a lot of cost in business. So be honest, be true, be true to yourself when you go through this exercise. because it's going to tell you how much did you really make. You know, and not just how much you brought in, but how much you made. So that's the first step to it. Now, as many of you know, I haven't really gotten into this with a lot of the new people that have just come in through Alignable, but this is more part of the creation process. When you're lead generating, you're creating things called lead magnets, which is, it's basically an opt-in form on your website where somebody can opt in for information. So it's a way that you generate leads. Your leads become your lists. So you want to have different lists. You want to have different mailing lists for every segment of your market so you can talk to those segments. Remember, each segment will have a different avatar. The avatar is that representation of an ideal customer, and it's specific to a segment, right? Unless you're De Beers and you figure out, okay, my avatar, I don't really have an avatar with demographics. My avatar is anyone in love, right? Or anyone that wants to be in love. So, you know, there's no hard and fast rules about any of this stuff. There's always exceptions to the rule. So keep that in mind, you know, when you're going through this. But anyway, so here you might have a lot of different list segments, but what you're to do here, and you might copy this and make 10 of these because you might have 10 different segments, but you write down what the list segment is and the size of the list. Like I said, I've probably got 50 different lists in my business. So you want to list them out, list the segment, list the size of that segment. And then you say, how many lead magnets do you have for this specific segment? Like, do you have one thing that you offer? Do you have 5 different downloads that they could get? Like, if they don't take the first one, do you offer them a second one to try and get them? Or do you just give up? The more of these that you have, the more leads you'll generate. The more leads you generate, the more presentations you'll make, the more chances you're going to have to get someone to purchase your product. So if you don't have something here, that's a problem. That should be big on your radar to fix that problem. Okay, so next, how many times did you email this segment? You know, if you're only emailing your segments once or once a year, they're not going to remember you. So it turns back into a cold lead. Cold leads are really hard to turn the tables and get them warm again. When somebody opts in, they're never hotter than they're going to be at that given point. When they opt in, they want what you've got. So don't wait a year to follow up with them. You want to follow up early and often. I mean, don't overdo it. Don't kill them. Don't make them opt out, you know, don't accost them, but give them good information. If they don't take your list or they don't take your offer, let's say they opt in, you've got a lead magnet for a free download, free PDF. They download it. They're given an offer to watch a free webinar. And you have the analytics to say, okay, well, they didn't watch the webinar. So what are you going to do? Just give up? Maybe you want to send them another email and say, hey, I noticed you haven't seen the webinar yet. It's really cool. We're going to be taking it down next week. So you might want to get in there and check it out. You know, or you might say, yeah, I noticed you didn't watch the webinar. I have a different thing here that I think would probably be of more interest to you. That's a new lead magnet. So again, how many lead magnets do you have? This is all about serving this one segment too. We are working on one segment here and one only. You might have 10 of these in your business. The more of this stuff that you change in the next year, the more income you're going to make. So for me to be able to double your business is almost a no-brainer because there's so many things that you could do to improve. It's almost a no-brainer that you could double. All right, so how many ads have you run to promote this lead magnet? Did you create it and just put it on your website and hope that someone would come and find it by chance? Or did you advertise it? Did you put it out there in front of the people that you want to get it to? Remember, analysis is figuring out who. The creation is figuring out what they want. And the traffic part is figuring out where they are, where you're going to deliver that messaging. And that's ads. Whether they're free or whether they're paid, it doesn't matter. It's the action of putting it in front of your prospects. So how many times did you do that? How many times did you promote that lead magnet? Or actually have you? I'd say how many if you have. The other one, have you done SEO? That's search engine optimization. If your audience is actively seeking these, the keywords, looking for what you have to offer, that's a really good place to show up. You might want to invest in some search engine optimization to make sure that you show up when they're looking. Or if you don't want to go to that pain, just run the ads. Google will sell you the ad placement to put you in front of those people. Okay, so here's another one. I absolutely love this. Do you have affiliate swipe files? Affiliate swipe files is the copy that you can give to someone for them to promote you. If you don't know what an affiliate program is, it's a sales program where you open it up to the general public that says, if you send me a customer and I make money, I'll give you a percentage of the sale. I'm going to pay you as a salesperson. They don't refer to themselves as salespeople. They refer to themselves as affiliates. So that's a whole program. If you don't have an affiliate program in your business, you might want to consider that. I make a tremendous amount of money off of my affiliate sales, and in both ways, in and out. When I refer someone, I make money. When they refer me, they make money. I make money as well. So affiliate is a really, that's a really powerful tool to move your business. How many affiliates have you asked to promote your lead magnet? If you've never asked an affiliate to promote you, do you think that might do better for you next year if you did? Some affiliates have big audiences of your ideal customers. One affiliate could potentially double, triple, quadruple your business. I did one affiliate offer to a guy that had my exact list. We did a 1-hour webinar and we followed up 7 times. So I had 7 email follow-ups. And by the time we closed on the 7th day, I had $52,000 in sales. Yeah, it was a digital product. I gave him 50%. So I gave him $26,000. He made 26 grand for sending out 7 emails. You think he was pretty happy about that? And I was happy about that too, because that brought in a whole bunch of new customers, and all I had to do was show up for an hour on a webinar, make 26 grand. So this can be a very powerful thing, figuring out who has your audience and creating an affiliate program and making that relationship. That can be very lucrative. All right, does this lead magnet have a sales funnel sequence behind it, or is it just a lead magnet to build a list? If you're just building a list without any plans of following through to make a sale, you're dropping the ball. Remember, it's a sales process. The lead magnet is just the front end attention grabber. You still have to do the other steps. You have to create the demand and desire, eliminate the objections, and make the offer. That's your sales funnel. That's your sales process. You need to have that ready to go. Okay, so how many times have you promoted it on other people's podcasts? There is a 1,000,001 podcasts out there that are just dying for content providers to show up and give content to their audiences. These things are a dime a dozen. Some of them will do it for you just to fill airtime. They don't even want a commission off it. I would personally cherry pick these. I wouldn't just go on anyone's podcast. I would cherry pick the one that was really powerful for me, for my sales process, and I would offer to pay them an affiliate commission. Say, hey, put me on, we'll do it like a webinar. I'll make an offer on the end and you'll get X amount of percent. Everybody's happy. Is it offered on your website? you know, if somebody goes to your website, could they see this? Could they find it? Could they automatically just opt in without any interaction, any intervention? You know, that's a pretty good thing to do. If you've got something really good to give away, is to put it on your website. Okay, so this was all about your list. This was basically about building your list and your lead magnets and your front end. Now we're going to talk about products. How many products did you add in 2022? Did you add any new products? If you didn't, you know, and this might pertain to you and it might not. If you're new, you might be working on your first product, and that's fine. But if you've been around and you've got a big customer base and you're serving a lot of people already, it's so easy to just add another product. Just figure out what else do they want? What else do they need? Offer another product. Like I said earlier, if you've changed the relationship from a prospect to a customer, it's 100 times easier to sell to them, to get them to purchase something else from you. So just by adding another product, you can increase your sales radically. You know, how many front end offers? And for those of you that don't know, a front end offer, it's the thing that you sell first, right? A back end offer is the thing that you sell after the fact. So like for me, I will not, at this point in my life and my career, I will not create a product that doesn't have a back end to it. It just makes no sense whatsoever to me. Like all of my stuff that I create, all of my training products, all of that, it doesn't have to be a big back end. Like the back end for the ACT program, it's $29 a month, right? But it's so valuable. Most people they'll keep that forever. I've had people, I've been doing this since 2010, and there's a lot of people in the program that have been paying the $29 a month since then for 12 years. It's so cheap and there's so much value, and everyone that's paying that, it's like cheap insurance. They know I'm going to be there to answer their questions when they need me. If you went around that, if you came to me for just private consulting, it's $1,000 an hour. That's what I charge the companies that I do private consulting with. They pay it like it's nothing, because they know what I'm going to give them in that hour is going to make them way more. But for you guys that are just getting started out, $29 a month, you get the same advice. You can ask the same questions that they're paying $1,000 an hour for. You know, and chances are you're going to have questions that I'm going to be able to answer for as long as we're both breathing. So it's cheap insurance. So that's a back end offer. Sometimes people will start off with a small front end offer, and they'll go to, you know, a bigger offer, and then they'll go to like a massive offer. And a perfect example of that is if you're selling a do-it-yourself product. Here, I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to give you videos and you just do it on your own. That's step one. That's the first level. And then if you have trouble with that, I have a higher level where I help you and I do it with you. We're going to do it together. And that's kind of like what this is, the ACT. We're doing this together. You got me. I'm here with you. And then the highest level is I just want it done. Do it for me. And you just don't even want to be part of the process. You just want to pay the check and have the thing delivered. So a lot of times people will do those 3 levels. That's basically 3 different products. So you'll get somebody to buy the first one, then they'll upgrade, they'll buy the second one, then they'll upgrade and buy the third one. Not everyone, but the more you have in your funnel, the more those numbers will scale up. So that's front end and back end offers. And it's like, how many front end offers did you create for this product? These are smaller slivers that might lead up to a higher product. How many back end offers? For me, it's a 1-to-1 mix. If I create a front end offer, it's a back end offer. It's a 1-to-1 mixture almost every time, at least. Now we go into the product name. What is the product? Again, you might have more than one of these, so just copy this and do it over and over. You put the price and the units sold in 2022. How many of these did you sell? Now, I'm not sure if we haven't really delved into big idea for a lot of you that are new. But big ideas are the attention grabbers. That's the concept that David Ogilvy made back in the 1950s of how to create headlines, how to literally just whip people's neck and grab their attention. They call that a big idea process. We have a whole lesson plan on that in the ACT program. But the question here is, how many big ideas have you developed for this product? You can have an unlimited amount of big ideas. Every big idea might grab a different avatar for the same product. So you might have different segments. You might need different big ideas for each segment, for each different avatar, even if it's from a difference between a man and a woman. You might have a big idea like the DeBurs. They had a different big idea for the men as they did with the women, because they knew you have a primary driver of significance for the man. So that's a specific big idea that's going to grab his attention. And then you had another one, different primary driver for the woman of security, different big idea, different angle. A big idea is just a different angle to sell the same thing to a different person. Or if you threw a big idea out at one of your prospects, one of your avatars, and they didn't take it, maybe you might want to try a different one. You know, keep trying until you get it right. Keep trying, you know, and you can use this. You can split test this. If you send a big idea out to 100 people and then you change it and you send it out to another 100, you can gauge, okay, did the first one work better than the second one? And if it did, then you go to that one as your control, and then you try another one against it. You keep trying things against it till you find something that works better. And then that's now your new control. And then you're fighting that one. So, you know, and eventually you might get good enough at this that you're happy. You got a good conversion ratio. There it is. You go forever, like diamonds are forever. That thing has lasted for almost a century. It's awesome. So, but they tried a tremendous amount of stuff before they hit that. How many ad campaigns, how many different angles do you think they tried before that they came up with that? Mary Garrity was a new, fresh pair of eyes. They hired her as a copywriter to come in and give them a fresh pair of eyes. And she did. And it worked. So, you know, new big idea. All right. Have you identified the most common objections? This is really important. If you don't know what's going to make them say no, you have no defense. You're just going to let those sales slip through your fingers. Have you identified why someone needs this? And I say needs and wants because they're two different things. They might not really need it, but they might want it. So have you figured out, you know, why they want it, what it's going to do for them? Have you identified the biggest benefits? This goes, you know, hand in hand with their needs and their wants. Have you three-dimensionalized the benefits? Do you have an irresistible offer in place? If you're answering no to a lot of the stuff, or if you're answering no to any of this stuff, these are big triggers that can give you a massive result moving forward. All you have to do is just fill this out and then spend all of 2023 correcting as much as you can. And I guarantee you, you're going to make more. How much more depends on how hard you go at it. You might find that you have a tremendous amount of opportunities here to make more money very, very easily.
Does it matter the order in which you're correcting these things?
In some cases, like if you don't have like a first lead magnet, you know, that's probably a good place to start. But other than that, not so much. I mean, anything that you can put as a leverage bar to get better results, I don't think it matters. I wouldn't penalize you for starting in the middle or the end or whatever. You could shuffle this deck and I don't think it would matter. As long as you had the basic framework of your marketing campaign in place, you know, the basics of it, I think you could just pick one, whatever one's easiest for you. Just do that first. Okay, here's one. Do you have, how many times have you emailed this product to your list? How many webinars have you done for this product? And remember, a webinar is a sales presentation. You're showing them how to use it. You're showing them that this is going to do what they want, and they're going to get their desired outcome. It's your way to demonstrate your value. Have you done that? It could just be a video. It could be a sales video or even a sales script, that they read. It could be a long page sales letter. Have you done that? Do you have an affiliate system in place where you could offer someone to promote this for you and get paid for it? How many affiliates do you have for the product? And swipe files, what a swipe file is, it's the copy that you hand to the affiliate so they don't have to write the copy. Don't plan on an affiliate marketing your product. They're going to deliver the message that you've already created. You are going to have to market your product. You've done the heavy lifting for them. You're basically handing it to them on a silver platter. You're saying, here's a set of emails. If you send these out in the order that I tell you, this is what our past people have gotten. This is what you should be able to expect. If you don't have that, any affiliate that is worth their salt is going to turn you down. They're going to know that this is going to be a waste of time. So you have to have swipe files for your affiliates to send to their lists. Another thing, this may or may not apply to you if you've got high ticket items. Have you created a payment plan? Because that's going to be an objection. I don't have, $5,000 to give you right now, but I could pay you $500 a month for the whole year, which would give you $6,000 and we'd all be happy. So, and again, it depends on what you're selling, how much it is, all that. Does this product have recurring income attached to the offer? That's a back-end offer. That's what I talked about a minute ago. I just won't create any kind of offer that doesn't have a back end at this point. Doesn't make sense. It's not worth my time to do it. How many upsells do you have for this product? Keep in mind, the upsell doesn't have to be you creating a product. You might find another vendor that you can create an affiliate relationship, refer the product to your customers, and make an affiliate commission. How many of those upsells do you have? How many downsells? If you're offering $1,000 item and somebody doesn't take it, do you have a downsell to give them maybe a light version of it for $199? They might just take you up on that, go through that program and decide, hey, this is really good. I want to upgrade. I want the full enchilada. Here's the remainder balance of the 800. So, okay, now for your offers. So we're on to offers here. How many new promotions, offers, and funnels did you build in 2022? How many incoming partner promotions? An incoming partner promotion is an affiliate that is making referral sales to you. Maybe they put you on a webinar. Maybe they put you on a high traffic website to refer your products. Those are incoming partner promotions. An outgoing partner promotion is where you're promoting someone else's product to your existing clientele or even your existing list. I have made a bunch of sales to people that are on my list that are not my customers. Just people that opted in for a lead magnet that I had. They didn't take my offer for whatever reason. I don't hold that against them. I know what they want because of the segment they're in, how they came into my list. So if I come across an offer that I feel could help them, I'm going to send it to them. And in many cases, they will take that offer and I'll make money whether they're my customer or not. Because again, I'm positioning myself to help them. So that's an outgoing partner promotion. And then how many pieces of content did you create and release? Whether it be a press release or an article or putting something on someone else's site to promote you, even putting your listings in directories. Any kind of a content piece, a YouTube video, post it up to YouTube. A banner that's put into Facebook or even a Facebook post. You can post promotional videos into Facebook for free on your feeds, and then ask the trick to that. If you want to do it for free, that when you put a post on your Facebook, the only people that see it is your friends, right? So what you have to do is you have to give them a reason to share it. And when your friend shares it, now it goes out to their friends. It's like that. I think it was a Prel commercial where they said, and they told 2 friends and so on and so on and so on. And pretty soon a couple of people turned into a gazillion people. So that's how you get free promotion through social media. You have to make sure that your information is shared. Okay, how many emails were sent for that product? What was the average open rate? This is really important. If you look at your open rates, if you don't have an email program that will show you this, I would probably recommend you look into that. Because if you look at your open rates, and you only had a 1% open rate, that means only 1 person out of 100 emails is going to see this. That's a problem with your grabbing attention. That's a problem with having no big idea. Remember what David Ogilvy said. He said, any kind of an ad campaign without a big idea is going to pass like a ship in the night, meaning it's not going to be seen. This will reveal that. If you've got a problem with your open rate, it's a problem with your big idea, your headline, your subject. So if that's an issue, that's an easy one to fix. And think about that. If 1 out of 100 are opening your email, if you got 50 out of 100, you got 50 times more chances to make a sale. I think we just increased your odds a little bit there with one thing, just one little thing. All right, so how many traffic channels were used to promote this product? And then I say rate each one of them in their level of effectiveness. Like if you ran a YouTube ad, maybe you ran a YouTube video ad and it just killed it. And then you ran a Facebook ad and you got nothing. And maybe you did some paid traffic through search engines and you got mediocre results. So moving forward in 2023, I would encourage you to cut the ones that didn't work and go all in on the ones that did and try new ones. Because remember, next year, we're going to ask you the same questions. How many traffic sources? If you only have 1 traffic source, you're on dangerous ground. Because if it stops working, you're done. Like a lot of people focus on SEO only. And Google is very fickle. They can giveth and they can taketh away. So if 100% of your sales are coming off of search, you're on dangerous ground. And if they can take it away at a moment's notice, and then you're stuck, you got nothing. So number of traffic sources, the more traffic sources you have, think about traffic sources as appendages, right? If you have 10 and you lose one, it's like losing a finger. It's going to hurt, right? But ultimately, you're going to wake up tomorrow and life's going to be fine. Not really too much is going to change if you lose 1 out of 10. If you have 2, that's like arms and legs. Guarantee you, if you lose a leg, it's not only going to hurt, you're going to wake up tomorrow and your life's going to change, right? Life is not going to be the same if you lose an arm or leg. And the appendage where you have only 1 is like your head. If you lose that, it's game over. You're done, right? But think about, as far as this game, I like to think of appendages as hairs on my head. If I lose one, I'm not even going to feel it, right? You want a lot of traffic sources. Okay, so next, I don't know if you guys have been through any kind of marketing training or not, but this is a typical SWOT analysis. And SWOT is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And a lot of people will tell you should be doing this in your business at least once a year. Write down, what are your strengths? Because your strengths you can leverage to your advantage. And what we just went through is going to show you a lot of your strengths and weaknesses. So leverage your strengths. If you've got a great ad that's kicking butt, push it, leverage it, lean on it, use your strengths. If you've got weaknesses, like let's say you don't have lead magnets or your open rates are bad or whatever, that's your weakness. So work on that, fix it, eliminate the weaknesses. Opportunities, this is like affiliates. There is a ton of people, I guarantee, can send you sales at a moment's notice. Those are opportunities. And threats is like having one traffic source. If you have one traffic source or you don't have a traffic source, that's a threat to your existence of your business. So, and again, there's tons of them. I'm just throwing out some generic examples so you can get an idea of how to start brainstorming this stuff. So again, SWOT is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. That right there should be like your coat of armor. If you're wearing your coat of armor, you're going to be able to go onto the battlefield and feel pretty confident, right? If you don't, you're kind of living in la la land and you don't know what's going on. You're probably going to get pummeled. And, you know, some of you might be feeling this. Some of you might have had this happen in the last year. You know, I'm doing this so this doesn't happen. We're going to do this again next year. And I guarantee you, if you follow this, you're going to be in a whole different position. And then we're going to be able to advance you forward. So don't worry if you're just getting started. Don't worry if, you know, if you fill this out and it's horrible, that's fine. That's just your starting point. That's your weakness. So here's the big question. What are you going to change in 2023? And I can assure you of this, if nothing on this list changes, nothing's going to change in your business. That I can guarantee you. I can give you a 100% money back guarantee on that one. So that is the end of my little pain exercise. I hope I didn't damage anybody too much. But it's really, that's an important game. And I play it once a year. You could do that quarterly. You could literally do this exercise quarterly or monthly, you know, for that fact. The more you do it, the more the stuff is top of mind and the more you're focused on your goals and your business and really your marketing. This is all about your marketing. That's what it's all about. Your marketing is going to generate sales. Even if you're an introvert, even if you don't want to be out in front of people, even if you want to just like hide in your closet and spend the money your marketing campaign's making, you know, Amazon will deliver you all the shit that you could ever want. You don't even have to go outside. But excuse me. But anyway, guaranteed, you know, this stuff works. This is basic business principles. And if you don't focus on it, nothing will change. You know, if you didn't know to do this, you'd probably start in 2023. You might have some, you know, start off with some New Year's resolutions that are going to poof up in smoke in a week or so. But this should run through your business. This should be the core backbone. You know what you need. You need things, you need pieces of marketing that are going to grab attention. Those are big ideas. Those are lead magnets. Those are things you can give away to take somebody from a cold whatever and turn them into a prospect. Get them into your marketing funnel. And then you deliver the goods. You basically create demand and desire by telling them how they're going to use your product, how it's going to transform their life, how it's going to get them their desired outcome. And then you figure out what could any possible objection be and how do we kill it? How do we eliminate it before we make the offer? If you're doing that stuff, I guarantee you're going to do better next year than you did this year. You're probably going to do better than you've ever done. And you can just keep doing that year after year after year. I don't care how good you get, you will always be able to double using this process. You could have a $10 million business and you could probably double it doing just what I was talking about. Just increase the number of things on that sheet and you're going to increase your business. All right, Karen, you got your hand up again?
Yeah, so I'm wondering what your next step is yourself. You
For
said there's
me,
always, yeah, there's always like the one level, you give it all away, and then there's the other level, like, I don't want anything to do with this. You do it all.
got it. Well, in my where I am in my business and in my life, I'm not really looking to get into more stuff. I'm kind of to the point where I'm looking to wind down. I plan on doing what I'm doing here forever. I like doing this. I like sharing this information. I like helping people. So this isn't like a job for me. This is fun. So I'll do this forever, but I'm not really looking to expand other portions of my business. I'm looking to kind of back out of that stuff. I want to just, go play on my boat and help you guys in the same process.
But then maybe you have the actual referrals of people that you.
Oh, yes. Yes. In fact, to more specifically to your point, I spent the last week kind of going through it. I do this again every year. I go through all the stuff like on my desktop, my file folders, and I clean stuff up and I throw a lot of stuff out. And I was just looking at all the assets that I have that I haven't used. Like I've got a ton of big ideas that I started and didn't finish that are great. I've got a ton of lead magnets that I maybe I even completed them and I just didn't put them up on a page. So I have a tremendous amount of assets at my fingertips that for me, all I would have to do is just go pluck some of those and put them into play. And basically what I've done as far as great referral sources, I have just about the best referral source on the planet at this point, and it's right here in Alignable. I partnered with Alignable to share this information to all of their members. And in 2023, that's going to be my goal, is to do as many presentations throughout as many groups as I can to spread the word about this program and how much it can help any business owner. So that's kind of my focus, my goal. And that's going to expand my business. But here's the cool part. It's not going to take a second more of my time for implementation. What I've created is absolutely scalable. It doesn't matter if there's 100 people going through the program or 100,000. It's all automated. Everything about this program I've automated. The only thing not automated is this weekly call. And like I said, I like doing it. As we scale up, as we get thousands of people into the program, what I might do is I might split it into a couple of calls a week, just to make sure that I can get everybody's questions answered, or, in some cases, I'll just stay on the calls longer to answer the questions. So that's kind of, for me, that's where I'm at. All right, Gordon, go ahead. You got to unmute there.
Yeah, question on, you mentioned that you weren't really into network marketing much. This is mostly traditional businesses. So can this be tweaked for networking?
Oh, this absolutely works for network marketing. For me, what I was referring to is network marketing just really isn't my personality. With network marketing, people that tend to excel in that type of business are really outgoing, and I'm not. I'm about as introverted as they get. I have no problem like getting on and sharing knowledge and all that. But for me to be placed into a large crowd and go person to person talking to them, I wouldn't even want to get out of bed if that's what I had to do during the day. Some people thrive on that. So network marketing is that's like a dream come true for them.
Well, it's kind of twofold, because you have products and you also, like myself, I look for people that are marketers that want to promote the product itself, which is more monetarily for me.
Yeah, typically with the average network marketing opportunity, it's twofold. It's the product of whatever they're selling, and then it's also the business opportunity of those that want to make money by building an organization. But
So when you
I
go
do.
Google things like that, where do you find a list of people who are actually looking for something like that, network marketing?
Oh, it's called BizOp. There's lists all over the internet of people that have opted in for BizOp opportunities.
Uh-huh.
That's kind of
Okay.
the buzzword is BizOp.
There's, okay.
Now, here's something I'll share with you specific to the network marketing industry. Protect yourself. Like the last thing that you want to do is go and spend a bunch of time and money and effort to drive people to a network marketing company and build their list, and you get left with nothing. What you should do is you should build your own list. You should become an influencer in that space, you know, whatever it is. If it's a health network marketing, you become a health guru. You create your own lead magnets that get people to opt into your list first before you send them to that network marketing company. That's how you protect yourself. Because I don't care what network marketing company it is. I've been in business for a long time, probably 4 decades. And I have seen these things come and go. Very few last the test of time. And they always wind up shuffling. And the network marketers that built their empire get screwed. So what you just protect yourself. Build your list, and you use the power of your list to promote that network marketing company. And while you're at it, look for the next one. Take the same list and double your money. If they're buying that product, figure out what other product they're going to need and figure out what other network marketing company you can join and double down, triple down, quadruple down. People need all kinds of stuff, and there's all kinds of multi-level marketing companies that offer that stuff. And you're building a list, build your own empire. And then if one of them goes away, it's like you lost a finger. Yeah, it'll hurt, but it's not going to kill you. If you're sending everything to one and you lose your head, it's game over. You're starting over from scratch, if you've even got it in you to do that.
All right, thank you.
All right, Tanya.
Good morning, John.
Morning.
Thank you for your time. My question for you is, actually, I've got a couple of questions. Would you
Okay.
say that today's teaching was based on the T part of ACT, the program? And if you're not there yet, which I'm not there yet, I'm back still doing the analysis. That's what I'm doing at the moment.
Okay.
So if I'm at the analysis part, I was going through the booklet and you were talking about the different segments.
Mhm.
And I didn't understand what you meant by the different segments. So
Okay.
then I went on to the analysis of the actual preferred client.
Yeah.
So I know when I was going through, you just said, just tackle it every day, give it a go, which I'm doing, give it a go. And then what, do I circle back to it? Do I come, is this the platform to ask the questions about the workbook?
Yes, absolutely. You can ask any questions you want about, you know, anything related to business or marketing in here.
Okay. So the booklet, when I was going through the book, it was talking about the segments.
Okay.
So I'm not clear about the segments. Would you
Okay,
mind
sure.
going
Sure.
through with those and what those are?
And if you're trying to go through the book before you've watched the videos, that might be part of your confusion, because there's specific videos where I talk about all the pieces that actually go into the book. But in short, the segments is like the different buckets of any different industry. Like I use the example of real estate. You have 2 main buckets of buyers and sellers. So that would be a large segment. You have 2 large segments. But then in your buyers, you can segment that down even further, where you have the family that's expanding and maybe wants to move to the countryside. You've got the single mom that's looking to just keep a roof over her kids' heads. And then you've got the guy looking for a bachelor pad. Those are they're different segments. And the reason that you segment is because there's a different buyer in each bucket. And each one of them speaks a different language. They have different wants and needs and desires. So when you're creating your marketing campaign and you're in that creation part, you can create messaging that will actually land and create sales for you.
Okay.
If you go down the middle of the road, you'll just alienate everyone.
Okay, so then it moved into the Google ads. Do we have to sign up to do a Google ad?
You do not. Google is just a tool, and I put that in there for demographics. It can give you some interesting information, but what I tell everybody, if you do sign up for the Google ads to get access to their tools, you will go through the process of creating an ad, and make absolutely certain before you leave the page that you've paused the ad campaign, because you do not want to run those ads and pay for those before you're ready. If you ever want to, you will just want to get access to the tool to do your research. So make sure before you leave that page, you pause that ad campaign so it does not run and it's not active. But you don't have to pay. You do have to sign up if you want to use their research tools. And they have a lot of data. They have especially search data. There's other tools though as well that you can use to get the same data. I use one called SEMrush. It's a paid tool, but it gives you an incredible amount of data. It's really cool. There's another tool in SEMrush. You can use the free trial for 7 days. So you might be able to get enough data out of that in 7 days to get what you need. There's another tool called SimilarWeb. And I'm pretty sure I talk about each one of these in the trainings and the videos, but SimilarWeb is a great one for competitor analysis. It'll tell you, like, you can put a competitor's website in and it will tell you where their traffic's coming from. So that's very valuable information to have. So it's cool stuff. It'll also tell you where traffic is going to after them. Like it'll show where the traffic came from and then where it goes to. So very, very interesting.
That site again, John?
That's called similarweb.com. So that's a great tool. And they have a paid version of it, but they'll let you use it for free, a couple of times before they kind of kick you to, okay, you need to sign up now.
So we're back here next Thursday, John?
Yeah,
Same
I
time?
am here almost every Thursday. There's some cases where I might have a conflict on schedule, but usually I'll change it to another day of the week. But average typical is Wednesday or Thursday, 11 a.m. Pacific time.
Gotcha. Thank you. Happy New Year. We'll see you next week.
You too. Thanks for being here.
And then just one more question. If I'm
Sure.
not technically savvy, like doing the back end, and you wanted to hire someone to support you with the back end, I have a platform that is able to read all the analytics. What sort of consultant are you looking for to support you with this type of back end work? Would you mind letting me know the title or someone that would be?
Sure, absolutely. You can look on. There's a site called Fiverr. You can look on there. There's a lot of people on there that are, hunting for, and then they've got all kinds of skills. You can just type in what you're looking for, like keyword research or demographics research, or, just whatever you're specifically looking for, you can just type it in and you'll get a boatload of them. And just look at, how many projects they've done, what their reviews are. Make sure, you're not getting somebody that is not trustworthy. A lot of times too, they're kind of trolling Fiverr to find customers, and they will work with you outside of Fiverr. Like maybe you want to hire them on a part-time basis as an outsourcer. You can do that. If you're specifically looking for that, like let's say you're specifically looking for a part-time outsourcer, you can go to a website called onlinejobs.ph. And PH is for Philippines. And there's a lot of Filipino employees that work full-time, very inexpensively. Like, to give you an idea, for $400 or $500 a month, you can get a full-time employee to do basic stuff. You know, you're not going to get one that has advanced skills for that, but somebody that has, you know, probably 10 times more tech skills than you do and is happy doing that stuff, which, you know, I don't know about you, but I'm not really excited about doing a bunch of techie stuff myself. I know how to do it. I've learned to do it just so I can drive the train, but it's not for me as far as I'm not looking for a job. I want to be the conductor, not the musician.
Super. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Anybody else? Anybody else got anything for us here? I know we've gone an hour and a half, which is perfectly fine. I always say, you know, I will stay on here and answer your questions, as many as you got. Rashid, go ahead. You have to unmute there.
I got in late today.
Okay. Okay. No problem.
So this would be this. I'm taking that this is recorded, and I'll be able to have
Absolutely.
the content of it.
Absolutely. As soon as it's done, I'm going to load it up to the group, and you'll be able to watch it from the beginning. And it's really good. I started this off with a couple of really good examples of marketing campaigns that have lasted like, you know, almost a century. Really, really good stuff. I mean, marketing campaigns, I think I've effectively demonstrated that a good marketing campaign can change history, culture, and even human behavior. And I used those examples. And then we did our year-end process, and now we're just into the Q&A. So
yeah, I came in just about when you were starting the year-end process, so I missed the front end of it. I was half an hour late.
perfect. No worries.
Okay. I just joined the group a couple of days ago.
Okay.
Where do I get started?
Okay, there's in the resources section, you can download the whole program. It's got all the video files, all the lessons. There's also the weekly calls. I would recommend you watch the week 1 call, which was a really good overview of the whole program. So that's probably your best place to start, is to watch that first week's call, download the program. And then I always tell everybody it's good to go through all the videos first before you try and implement. So you kind of have the whole board out in front of you. And then you go back.
You mean the videos in the program?
Yes. Yeah. The program videos. I just think it's a good idea just to kind of get the lay of the land on the whole program, A to Z, before you start trying to implement it. Because if you start implementing it, you're like in a thing and you can't see what's ahead. I like to know like the road ahead and the road behind, so I know where I'm at all times and I can navigate properly.
Okay.
And there's stuff when you go through the program the second time, you're going to see stuff because you're at a different level. You're going to learn stuff. I've had people that have gone through the ACT program probably a dozen times. And every time they do, they get a deeper and deeper understanding and a deeper level and a better skill set.
Right.
So it's like when you're ready to learn, the information will soak in. So I tell everybody, just go through it first, just to expose yourself to the process.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And then when you're ready, get the workbook, go back to the beginning and start just filling out the workbook. And then you're going to be ready to go into creation and start building.
Super. Thank you.
Absolutely. Lily.
Okay. Hey, how's it going?
Very good.
Thank you for being here and helping us. I have a question about the lead magnets that you mentioned earlier.
Okay.
Yeah, you said that would be a good place to start. And I just wonder, is there like a resource that you recommend us to go to begin with these lead magnets, like drafting a PDF?
No, I think personally, I think the best lead magnet that you could make is figuring out like your avatar, figuring out on their timeline where they are and where they want to be, and figure out what the first step is that they would have to take to get there. And I would build a lead magnet out of that. I'd say, if you want to X, then the first step is to why. And here's Z, how to do it, and give them that.
Okay.
And just turn it into a video. Like I did one, I forget what I called it. It was like the 50 top conversion maximizers that you could do to your website to get better conversions. And when I put the lead magnet out, I hadn't actually created the lead magnet yet. I just had a list. I had a Word document and I listed off 50 things that you could do, but I didn't have the descriptions. I didn't have the text, none of that. And I started to run the campaign and I'm like, oh my God, I don't have time to write a book. So what I did was I went on to Zoom, I opened a Zoom window, I started recording, and I opened the list, the Word document, and I just went down the list and I just talked it through. I said, here's the first one, here's how it works, here's how to do it. Here's the second one, here's how it works, here's how to do it. And that was my lead magnet. So I never even turned it into a PDF.
Hmm.
I did give them the Word document with the lists, but then I gave them the video. So that's just me. I'm very lazy when it comes to things.
No, that's smart. Very good. And then I was already looking at going through your videos and the lessons. And my question was, what's the order of the videos we should be looking at first?
Okay,
Because you have
sure.
conceptual and then you have lessons and
Yeah,
some of it overlaps.
Absolutely. The conceptual is like a whole different thing. That was like an add-on bonus that I put in. There's things that you'll pick up in the conceptual videos that are not necessarily in the lessons, maybe. So if you just want to go through the core course, the conceptual is like an add-on.
Oh,
So just to
okay.
go through the core lessons. But there is a lot of good stuff in the conceptual videos as well. Especially if you're new to marketing or you're new to business, there's probably a lot of, really good nuggets in there.
Yeah, no, all of it's very well done and appreciated. Thank you. That's all I have.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, Warren.
Hi, John.
Hello.
Question about what do you suggest I can? I'm hiring commission agents for my business, and where would you suggest I advertise? For some commission agents.
Are you talking about like a commission salesperson?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much.
What's the business?
Employee retention tax credit.
Okay, gotcha.
And helping business get back, they say up to 26,000 per W-2 employee.
Gotcha.
So that's the core of the business.
If it's a high paying sales job, there's some Facebook groups that I know specifically where good salespeople hang out in there and roll those. So you might just pop a post in there that says, and go in and don't like do it as an advertisement because they don't like promotions in there and stuff like that. So go in and just kind of do it under the radar. Like go in and ask, like, I have a sales opportunity for somebody that could make, X amount per sale. Where would be a good place to find these people? And they will find you if you do that. They'll raise their hand and they'll say, I'm right here.
Yeah. And what do I search? Like the group, like sales or
sales? Yeah.
Sales group. Okay.
Yeah. Search for sales. Also, there's probably data sources, like you can poke around in Google. Google, can uncover a lot of rocks really fast if you just use the Google search tool.
Yeah.
And also when you start typing something in Google, it's going to drop down recommendations. And sometimes the recommendations will be stuff you hadn't even thought of. So it'll really help you find what you're looking for. And then once you select something and you run that search, scroll to the bottom of the page and look at the related search terms. because that's even further recommendations on what you
Mm,
might be looking for. Google's
Right.
very, very powerful source to find something. You can find almost anything you're looking for.
Yes.
It might even find the Facebook group specifically for you.
Oh, okay.
Like,
Yeah.
like if you go to Google and you type in Facebook sales groups,
Right. Mhm.
probably going to find them for you.
Yeah, yeah, from Google. I see.
Yeah. Yeah. Google's a very powerful source of
Yeah.
information.
And good. The other question is, Google and Facebook advertising is kind of like, I got problems. Accounts get suspended. So, what are some other sources I could advertise for Lead Magnet, Microsoft, or some other
Yeah,
Taboola?
There's an absolute ton of different traffic sources. When you go into the T section of ACT, I cover a bunch of different traffic sources in there.
Oh, okay.
And as far as I would personally stay out of traffic until you get your messaging right. Because if you're spending money to advertise and you don't have messaging right, it's just going to be really expensive.
Right. Oh, right.
So be very careful of spending a bunch of money to advertise a bad campaign or a non-existent campaign. That's just going to be a waste of your money.
So do you review any campaign here, or how's that work?
Yeah, as you're going through, like if you come up with a big idea, absolutely. I would love to have you throw it out and we'll chew it up. We'll chew it up, send it back to you. I've been doing that for years. Absolutely. Or if you have an offer, I'm happy to look at that stuff, because every time somebody brings something on for me to do that, the whole group's going to learn from it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that they won't want me to do that because they're afraid, they don't want to have their shell damaged, but we can learn so much. You have to make mistakes. If you don't make mistakes, you're not going to get it right.
Right.
That's part of the process. So I'm happy to shine a spotlight on the mistakes for you.
Yeah, that's great. Get feedback, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so do I show you the funnel? I'm making this one, like it's more like CPA is like you get leads, get paid for leads, it's not a sales model, CPA, I'm sure CPA.
Yeah,
So to make it up fun.
What you should do is send me an email and I'll take a look at it, and then we'll put it onto one of the calls.
Yeah. So your email is John
at internetdominators.com.
John at Internet Dominators. Okay. Okay, great. Thank you, John.
Absolutely. All right, back to Rashid.
Yeah, I'm trying to, and I mentioned this a couple of days ago on the introductory call with Sue. I'm trying to pinpoint my avatar.
Okay.
Going from a specific generality from generality to specificity. Is it possible to play on here trying to do that, or is that something off?
Sure, absolutely. Again, like for something like that, if you want me to review something or like that, send it to me first. And then sometimes, I can do some research for you, and then I can just, really deliver the goods for you on the call.
Okay. So what would I, what information would you need?
As much as you can tell me about, what you're trying to do. Keep in mind too, like when you're doing your segments and your avatar process, I used a couple examples. I know you probably weren't on the call when we first started today.
No, I wasn't.
If you go back and watch that, I gave a couple of examples where it's a non-discriminate avatar. And, like a perfect example is sometimes it won't actually be a particular person. It will be, it could be a symptom. Like if you had a cure for a headache, demographics go out the window. It's
Right.
a person that's having that symptom, or that, that they're suffering that thing. And that's your avatar. And it doesn't matter what their age is. It doesn't matter, a lot of the stuff that we focus on and, in building an avatar goes out the window. It doesn't matter.
Right.
We're just solving that certain problem. So anybody that has that problem now becomes our avatar.
Okay. Yeah, that wouldn't necessarily apply to my my
Yeah.
avatar, because I am looking for a specific group of people who are looking to, say, start a business or transition
Okay.
out of transition, that are in transition and they don't know where to
Gotcha.
go or how to get started, and things of that nature.
Okay. Yeah. So with that, the more specific that you can be, the more they'll relate to you.
Right.
Like for instance, if let's say they're a career banker, let's say you've got a bunch of bankers, and, and I don't know that this is true, but let's just say you got a bunch of bankers that are sick and tired of the whole day job thing.
Uh-huh.
And what they're going through because they're bankers and that industry. So you can create a story of how, hey, I know what you're going through. I was once a banker and I made the leap and now I'm free. And you can craft that story to create so much demand and desire for them to follow in your footsteps that they'll just come in groves.
Aha.
Does that make sense? So the more you
Yeah.
know about who you're talking to, and you could have, like, the same program might work for bankers, it might also work for mortgage brokers.
Right.
But if you
Right.
talk about, what it's like to be a banker, the mortgage broker is not going to relate. They're going to go, oh yeah, well, that's great for them. What about me?
Right.
So
Okay.
that's where your segmentation comes in.
Gotcha. So, like, I worked in restaurants for 30 years. I've done everything from washing dishes, waiting tables, to multi-unit management.
Yeah.
So that would be a group that I can.
You could go at it a little more generically, like you could go after physical labor. Hey, if you've been breaking your back in the sun, your back's not going to hold up for the rest of your life. You better figure something out. I was just like you. I got out of it. Now I have a dream job, that I've created for myself. I'm in my own business. I don't have to answer to anybody. I don't have to pick up shovels. I don't have to do this, that, and the other. And you can relate to them that way. So you could do it more generically, or you could say, basically office help. If you've worked in an office, I know my wife worked in an office for years, and every day she would come home and I would get 45 minutes of the office politics that she hated, right? Every day. And she finally got laid off, and I'm just like, yes. And it was funny because, like, a week later, she's looking through the newspaper and I'm like, what are you doing? She goes, I'm looking for a job. And I'm like, why? You are absolutely miserable. Why would you want to go back into that? And she said, well, don't I need to work? And I said, oh, if you want to work, I got plenty for you to do. You can do all the stuff I don't want to do, which is just about everything. And
Okay.
she's worked for me now for almost 30 years.
Wow. Okay. And she didn't have to deal with the office politics anymore.
No, she just has to deal with me. I'm probably bad enough.
Yeah. 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 I'm more, I'm kind of looking for an high-end people who have been successful in their career and are burned out because it didn't turn out to be what it was sold to be.
Yeah. You craft a story, and that's how you're going to create the demand and desire. That's your sales presentation.
Okay.
It could be as simple as, hey, I was just like you, and now I'm where you want to be. And here's how I got there. Let me show you the roadmap. It wasn't that difficult.
Right. Okay. That's what I want to basically. I want to sell is a roadmap.
Yeah. So you're creating a story. You're highlighting a way to get the outcome, and that's what you're doing. You're selling the dream.
Okay. And but I'm trying to get to is not a one size fit all type thing where.
Yeah, the more
Yeah.
you can get specific and the more you can get away from the one size fits all, the more
Right,
effective you're going to be.
right. And
Doesn't
that's-
mean that you can't serve all of them, but you need to
Mhm.
speak specifically to different groups, and that's where your segmentation comes in.
Okay.
But you could
okay.
segment down as far as you want. Like office work is more generic than a banker, right?
Mhm. Right,
If you speak specifically to bankers, you will get better conversion. But
Right.
speaking to office workers might be good enough.
Mhm.
You might do just fine with that. Or, hard labor, construction, guys that are, out killing themselves every day, to put food on the table.
Right, well, no, that's not the market I'm going after. I'm going after,
Yeah,
I'm going after the burned out CEOs.
gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I was just using that as an example.
Right, right. So,
So
Okay.
anything, there's always going to be segments to it.
oh, correct.
Like
Okay,
even with CEOs, you might have CEOs of tech companies,
uh-huh,
you might have CEOs of different kinds of
Right.
businesses.
gotcha. Yeah, so when you started talking about banker, it was just like a light bulb. Oh, restaurant manager.
Yeah, there's
I see.
probably a lot of CEOs in positions where they're doing sketchy stuff because of the company
Right.
and they're not comfortable in their own skin.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So again, the more you understand about that avatar, the more you're going to relate to them,
Right.
the more you're going to convert, the more money you're going to make. Just that's bottom line.
Okay. So basically what I need to do is describe the product that I'm trying to create and our overview of the avatar, and then see how we can niche it down.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, you're just kind of breaking it down. Segments is breaking down the groups of people, and then of the groups of people, that's where your avatar comes out of that group.
Okay. Okay.
So then,
Gotcha.
and then based on that avatar, you get to understand everything about them, what's important to them, what they want, why they want it, and then you craft your messaging that they're going to fall in love with.
Okay. So I can have the same product,
Same product, just different
But
messaging, different
have
avatar.
different campaigns to different groups
Absolutely.
buying the same product rather than trying to
Absolutely.
market. Gotcha.
Absolutely. You don't have to create new products. You just have to create new wrappers around how you're going to sell them.
Gotcha. So it's different campaigns for different segments of the big market.
Yeah. So what I always say is pick the most profitable, easiest segment first, create a campaign, get it working. And then once it's working for that one, clone it. Just clone it. So you've got an
Okay.
exact duplicate copy, and then pick your next avatar and just go in and tweak it.
Gotcha. So
And
where
now
would
you've got two.
I go to find say burned out restaurant manager, for example? Google?
What I would do, if you email me, I've got a list broker that I can connect you with.
Okay.
And he's got lists of just about any type of personnel that you would ever want.
Ooh, super. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if you want to find that on Google, just look for list broker,
Okay. Gotcha.
mailing list broker, and look for one specifically that has email addresses connected to the people on the list. And you'll be surprised. There's, usually thousands, if not
Oh,
tens,
yeah.
hundreds of
Right.
thousands of.
Yeah, I know that. I wouldn't be surprised, but yeah.
That's awesome.
I've been around for a while to know all this. And I haven't used it, but I know this.
Yeah. The other place where you can find them also is, in business groups. You might find them here in Alignable. You might find them in LinkedIn. LinkedIn has a lot of different positions specifically. So you might be able to identify them through there. But anywhere where they're hanging out, they might be on Facebook groups. You can advertise into those sectors. That's a different traffic source for you.
Okay, okay, so a lot to look at. I'm gonna
Yeah,
get
yeah.
started.
The
Yeah, I'm
ACT,
gonna
the
get
ACT
started on the
program
program.
encompasses
Right.
a lot of stuff. There's a lot to it. It's not, it's simple. Everything about it is simple. There's nothing at all in there that's complex and complicated,
Mhm.
but it's a lot. There's a lot of pieces to the puzzle. And the more you get, indoctrinated into it, the more you understand it, you'll be creating these pieces. And before you know it, you'll have all the pieces to the puzzle,
Mhm.
and you'll have a working puzzle in place, and then you can just duplicate it.
Gotcha.
But don't get discouraged. Don't be, too hasty. Be patient and put it together. It's like you're building your future. When you're creating a marketing campaign, don't expect to just snap your fingers and have it done. You're
Right.
you're building a mousetrap that's going to last you a lifetime. So be patient, engineer it, be very, very methodical in your, in your thought process for it. It will pay off in spades. It will pay off like, hundreds of times if you do that.
Gotcha. So, and it's never too late to start.
No, absolutely. And like I said, when we went through that exercise today, you might have some of the pieces in place. If you just go through that list and just add some pieces or improve some pieces, you're going to do better than you're doing.
Right.
There's no way around it. You're going to improve. Everything you improve in the process is going to do you good. You're going to get a better outcome.
True. Now this is something new that I'm starting, so it's from scratch.
Yeah, but for me, I'll spend a tremendous amount of time and analysis and really, building that structure even before I go into creation. I want to know everything I need to know before I go into creation mode. Otherwise, I'm spinning my wheels.
Right.
So if I have everything going in, then the creation process is smooth. It's easy. It answers itself.
Right. So would you say what you do here is kind of a coaching?
Yeah, and the calls, yeah, it's mentorship, it's support, it's basically whatever you need.
Okay.
I've even dealt with some mindset stuff. There's some people that, in the past that they haven't moved forward because they had a mindset issue.
Right.
We've dealt with that. So whatever you're facing, if we can figure out, what it is, I can probably help you with it.
Awesome. Okay, well, I'll go through the program and watch the videos and see where I am next Thursday.
Awesome.
I'll send you an email. Thank you.
That's all we ask. Just do the work and it will pay off.
Yep. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Happy New Year.
You too. All right. Anybody else before we get on to celebrating a new year? And I hope this new year is really good for all of you guys. You've got the tools, you've got the resources, everything in here is what you're going to need to make next year better than last year and potentially better than any year you've ever had. But be patient, go through the process, stick to the system, and, build a marketing campaign. One good marketing campaign will change your business forever. Yeah, look at these examples I used this morning. It was, that's just a couple of examples of all the marketing campaigns out there. So,
And John, where do I download the course again?
it's if you go into the group, it's under the resources on the right side. There's a resources, and it's right there. It's the zip file.
All right, great.
All right. Well, if there's nothing else, we will go ahead and wrap up for today. And I want you guys to all have a great rest of your holiday season, great new year, and let's continue this forward. I'm here for you all next year. So when we do next year's exercise, I don't want it to be as painful for you as possibly this one was. So, all right, guys, have a great day, great week, great new year. And we will see you next year.
Happy all, be well. Thank you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.